live. I don't know. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please hit the subscribe button. It's free to do, and it means the world to me. And hit the notification bell if you're hitting the subscribe, because I go live every weekday, but I can't promise you what time. It could be early afternoon, late at night, early in the morning. I like to keep you on your toes. But if you hit the notification bell, then guess what? You'll get notified. And we go live together. Drop it in the comments. Converse with me. We can have some dialogue. I'm Rob. Welcome to the struggle. This story I seen. Now listen. Usually I bring stuff pertaining to the culture and things like that, but this is totally cultural. The director of Tekken. Now, if you don't remember Tekken, geez, did Tekken come out? It must have been the 90s. I don't remember if it was the early or late 90s. Was it Sega? Tekken came out a while ago, man. And let me tell you this. Eddie Gordo? You don't want none of this with Eddie Gordo. That was the homie. Eddie Gordo was the man in Tekken. He did the capoeira. And now Tekken is at Tekken 8, which I gotta be honest, when I seen Tekken 8 arrive, I took a peek. I haven't played that game in 20 something years. I played Tekken 1. Tekken 1 was where it was at. But after Tekken 8 and looking into that, I thought, you know what, maybe I'm too old for Tekken. But the director of Tekken, keeps getting requests, I think on Twitter and other social media, about making the Waffle House a stage, a backdrop. I don't know how in-depth Tekken goes. I think it's just a PvP, player versus player fighting game still. I don't believe there's any storyline or anything like that. I think it's just straight up like Mortal Kombat. But the director was asking on Twitter, why do people keep sending me requests for Waffle House? Which is the most hilarious thing, because it's very cultural here in America. I'm not sure how many other countries have a Waffle House. And if you don't know, there was just that great meme going around because of the Waffle House fight where that girl threw a chair, somebody threw a chair, that girl knocked somebody out, I forget. Was that last year? So essentially, the Waffle House would be an amazing place to hold the Tekken match. And I don't know if he'll do it. I think he kept asking for an explanation why the Waffle House, and people were like, listen, Waffle House is open 24 hours, so even when you get out of the bar, if you're drunk, whatever, you can go and get some food, and that ultimately usually leads to a fight, which makes the Waffle House more of an entertainment. You know what, now I'm thinking about it, not only should they put Waffle House in Tekken as like a backdrop, but that would be a great sitcom, right? Like an HBO series. Maybe not a sitcom. Sitcom's not the right word, but like, you know, not a Breaking Bad. What's on HBO that's like a Shameless? It would be a great like HBO series called Waffle House. Patent pending. Nobody steal that idea. I came up with it. I'm gonna write it. That'd be brilliant. And I also think for Tekken, it doesn't just have to be Waffle House. You know, you could do different cities. You know, like outside of Wrigley Field. You could do outside the Eagles Stadium in Philly. That's a perfect place for fighting. I would even say like Disneyland. Secession. I don't watch that, but Waffle House could also mix with Sonic the Hedgehog on Sega Genesis. Listen, the crossovers that these video games do now, where they have like I don't want to say Super Smash Bros, but like WB has its own fighting game. Like all these things have their own fighting games now, and like every cartoon character. I mean, look at Fortnite. Fortnite just had Jack Skellington, and allegedly, I think because Disney invested a lot of money, a lot of money into Fortnite, that they're going to have their own like Disney virtual world into Fortnite. Which, listen, all the kids that my son plays with, they're all talking about how, you know, Jake. Or no, Sully. I was gonna call him Jake Sully. Avatar is coming to Fortnite, but like how Mike Sullivan and Mike Wazowski, and what's his name? Sullivan. I forget his name. Big blue dude. How they're all gonna be in Fortnite. But that would be a great comedy show. Waffle House. like 2.5 Men, or like Friends, like a crackhead version of Friends, where instead they all show up at the Waffle House. They have Gunther serving them waffles. Was that his name, Gunther? I don't remember. That'd be great. They could have a trashy Jennifer Aniston who ends up knocking somebody out at the end of every episode, just like, you know, Kenny would always die. This is a brilliant idea. Can't believe I just came up with this. Sully and Mike. Yeah, but James Sullivan, that's his name. James Sullivan. I know it was Sully. I kept calling him Jake Sully. That's Avatar. So anyways, Tekken 8, the director keeps getting bombarded with requests to put Waffle House as a stage, which is so great. I think they should do, that's what I'd like to see. Enough of the characters crossing over into video games. Let's see places cross over. I'd like to see a Tekken fight outside of Disney World. In Epcot, in the land of tomorrow. That's where I'd like to see a fight, where you smash it through the Epcot ball. What is that thing called? Nobody knows. I don't even think it has a name. The ball of the future. You know that big Epcot ball? Whatever it's called. Where else would be some great places to have a Tekken fight? Is Street Fighter still around? They should. That's what they should do. They should have a cool play like behind a Walgreens at a dumpster fight. Dumpster on fire. That would be so amazing. Sesame Street. Like to see them smashing through Oscar's trash can. Oh, you kid. So, needless to say, we could maybe look forward to Tekken 9 taking place at Waffle House. What are some other epic fight locations outside of like any sports game, any sports arena in Philadelphia? South Boston. Yeah, but it's got to be more specific, you know? Like, I don't know. Street Fighter at a Dunkin'. Behind the Dunkins. And there's just little rats going by. That'd be a great one. That'd be an awesome one. The other thing I wanted to mention, because I seen this, and I figured this Pac-Man at the maze from The Shining. Oh, you know what? Pac-Man in David Bowie's Labyrinth. I know it wasn't David Bowie's, but that would be a great place for that game to take place. I shouldn't say it like that. That'd be a great stage in Pac-Man. And they could do it. Pac-Man is so far advanced now, you know? They could do a Sonic the Hedgehog Inland Empire meth run. Where Sonic, instead of getting rings, he collects rings to go to the meth kitchen, to the chef, and then he gets zooted, and boom, he's off. Oh shoot, was that? So the other thing, and I linked the article from PC Gamer about this Waffle House stage in Tekken. So if you want to read it yourself, the tweet from the Tekken director is hilarious because he's like, you know, obviously it's not a cultural thing wherever he's tweeting from, and he's like, can people please explain to me why I keep getting requests for Waffle House to be featured in Tekken? Somebody needs to send that dude the video of the fights at Waffle House. I think he'll get it. And that'd be great if you could not only fight outside, but smash through into the inside of Waffle House while there's people like eating drunk and getting served waffles. I mean, this is brilliant, right? Outside of Death Row Records, there's another good one. What about on, what's his name's grave? Dick Nixon's grave? That would be an awesome one. Oh, so the other article I linked in the description, you can read the Tekken one, but was about the lawsuit, the $1 billion lawsuit against Google. If you use Google and their incognito browser, turns out that's outcognito, it's not incognito, and they've been collecting your data. So if you thought for 1 second that Google was keeping you safe and letting you really be incognito, turns out outcognito, your data's out there. And they've been collecting it, which is hilarious. I always thought, like, as soon as I seen that Google incognito browser tab, I was like, who believes this? Does anybody? Leave it in the comments if you believe that Google was truly letting you browse the web incognito. I'm like, that's the biggest scam I've ever heard. If you believe that, I got a bottle of wind to sell you. Okay, it maybe smells like farts. But I always thought that was funny, and then turns out in 2020 the U.S. sued them because they were collecting everybody's incognito data browser information and keeping it on you. So hey, just in case you were doing some funky stuff in incognito, looking up how to, mix certain elements and make some things for Sonic to speed around on, just be careful, all right? Because it turns out Google has all that information on you. What are they going to blackmail America? I just think like Google, so my whole reason behind not believing that it was truly incognito is because number one, it's Google, the biggest company in the history of the world. I don't know if there's anything bigger than Google. And who's going to stop them? Like even in this lawsuit where they were found guilty, on the hook for billions of dollars, like Google, and this was in 2020, Google was like, okay, we'll destroy it. But it's like, who's going to check? Who's from the government is going to go and check Google's hard drives and make sure they destroyed it? There's no enforcement on that. They can't send the police. Like, who's going to check on that? You've seen the congressional testimonies or hearings where they pull in these big tech guys and the people are like, do you have to turn the internet on to get on TikTok? They're like, how do you poke somebody on MySpace? So the government isn't handled or prepared to handle anything like this. That's why Google can just kind of do what they want, and they have enough money where they can pay the $2 billion or whatever it was that they were forced to pay. That's pocket change. They're like, yeah, okay, we'll pay that. And they're like, yeah, we'll totally destroy those hard drives. Totally. Who is going to check and make sure? We have nobody in the government that is that tech savvy. What are they going to call in? The NSA, the CIA? Psst, those guys are busy fighting, starting coups in other countries. Ample thought. Darth Vader versus Peaky Blinders at Hogwarts. There you go. That's an adult PvP fighter game. I don't know Peaky Blinders, I gotta be honest with you. But I appreciate Darth Vader fighting anybody. Though Darth Vader isn't the best one because he's got that space telepathy or whatever he has. So it's always like unfair because if he can't win just on space telepathy, or I forget what it's called, the Force. If he can't win just using the Force, like what kind of fighter is he? He should be able to choke anybody out right when it comes. They can't even touch him. So yeah, I wanted to make you aware if you think you're really browsing the web incognito. That doesn't exist. And read the article. I left it in the description. The Tekken thing, I want to talk more about it. I'm out of gas. I gotta go do something. Stuff's been crazy. I had 3 phones stolen off my porch yesterday. Just been brutal. Life has been brutal lately. So if you're the praying type, please send up a prayer. Please pray that Jesus resurrects my career in radio just like he resurrected himself this weekend, roughly 1900 years ago or whenever. Nancy Pelosi. I'd like to have Nancy have a fight, have Tekken have a Nancy Pelosi's grave stage. Oh, they could just do it at Wall Street, where she inside trades for her family. That's what they could do. That would be a great one. Bane fighting at Wall Street. Bane versus Eddie Gordo. See, this is going to make me want to play Tekken because Eddie Gordo was so good. He was unbeatable, too. Like, you couldn't beat him. And, like, me and all my friends, I think everybody would just beat Eddie Gordo. So it would be Eddie Gordo versus Eddie Gordo. And it almost got, like, boring. I think that's why we stopped playing. So, yeah, Waffle House. That's a great backdrop. I'll think of some more. We'll talk about it again. I unfortunately got to go. Oh, I want to show you this book. It's been left in my work for, like, a month. I don't know. What do you think? I didn't want to take it, and I'll bring it back. And if anybody ever asks for it, like, I really, like, I'm not stealing it. It's been sitting. Somebody left this book at my work for over a month now. Maybe like 6 weeks. And like a couple weeks back, I was like, what is this? Why has it been sitting back here? And they were like, a customer left it. And I was like, all right, can I just read it on my breaks? So I've been reading it on my breaks. It's the waning of the Middle Ages. It's such a fascinating book, right? And then today it's still sitting back there. And I'm like, I don't want it to get thrown away. It's a really fascinating book. I'd love to read it. So essentially what I'm doing is like treating it like a library. Like I'm going to take it until I finish reading it. But at any point, if someone comes in asking for it, I will bring it back. I'm not stealing it. I do not want to take it. I just want to read this book. And I do not know where you find a book like this. This is an old book. Old book. But it's so fascinating because essentially it talks about a study of the forms of life, thought, and art in France and the Netherlands in the dawn of the Renaissance. So it talks about the time period from when the Middle Ages ends into the Renaissance and the culture and everything that was happening then. And as soon as I started reading it, I was like, this is insane. This is insane that this was like a period in time. You forget. Sometimes history, you're so detached from it that it's just like a thing. I think a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that's a thing in a book. But like, people live this. This is how we got here. Fascinating. So, I don't know. Is that wrong that I borrowed that book? I really feel bad, but at the same time, like, I just want to read this book. I really want to read this book. And I'll bring it back. Listen, if you're the owner of this book, you're watching it, I promise you, I'll take good care. It was only $2.50. You see that? $2.50. This is back when books were $2.50? Jesus. Maybe this book is from the Middle Ages. Well, I wanted to show you that because it's a cool book. And we'll talk about it at some point. All right. I got to peace out. Like Ample Thought said, subscribe. And please, by the way, if you have subscribed, thank you so much. That has been like the silver lining of the past month. My family's just been going through the ringer, and when I see new subscribers and people join in the comments, whether they're good or bad, thank you for watching. But really what's important to me is like the family, the solidarity I see with people subscribing. I love it. It's so amazing. Thank you, Ample Thought. It's not wrong. Thank you. I needed to hear that, and I'm for real. I appreciate it. They left it there. I was like, yo, if I left a book somewhere, I would go back and look for it. You know, like I wouldn't just give up on the book. I would be like, I need that book. I'm guessing they either finished it or they wanted somebody. So I appreciate that, Ample Thought. So if you've subscribed, thank you so much. It means the world to me. If you haven't, please, it's free to do. I go live every weekday. I try to bring you something fascinating like books about the waning of the Middle Ages. Now you know this exists. You probably did not know that before. I'll try to bring you something from the culture always, like Tekken 9 potentially having Waffle House as a stage. I'm looking forward to it. The director of Tekken, do it. And do even more, like we discussed. Outback of Donkeys. Ben Affleck fights Casey Affleck. That's a good fight. So yeah, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and the notification bell so you can join me whenever I go live. Thank you so much. Salute to you, all of you who have subscribed. It means the world to me. Thank you, Ample Thought, for jumping in the comments. Let's connect soon, and peace.